one of the things that the people were shape. Scare them off with the growl of this beast. This is my Honda Rebel 500. I been owning this for the past few years, and it's one of my project bikes. It's one of the bikes that I bought. It's one of my bikes that I bought as a category N, you know, salvaged title, fixed, and I've been riding it because it's a really nice bike, to be honest. I fixed it and I didn't really sell it because I enjoyed it quite a bit, but it is time now to sell it, to make room for other projects. And I just had it MOT'd. I thought I'm gonna do a review on it because I've been owning it for 2 years. It's gonna be a true owner's review. There are good and bad with this bike. I'm just gonna say from the start, this is not the latest model. This is a 2020 model. This specific model came out in 2017, and they stopped production on this specific one on 2020, and from 2020 to 2022 it's like facelifted version of it, which has LED lights all around, LED headlight, LED rear light, LED indicators, and it has a different dash as well. And besides that, it's the same bike. So this comes with halogen lights all around, halogen indicators, halogen headlight, halogen rear light, and the only difference between the clock, this clock, and the new one is that the new clock has a gear indicator selector. I'm going to talk about the specs of this bike. I'm going to start with the engine. So this engine is a 471cc parallel twin. It's liquid cooled and fuel injected, and it develops 47 horsepower and around 45 newton meters of torque, which it's not much if you're in the bike road and you know horsepower and newton meters of bikes. It's not that much, but to be honest, it's all right. It's quite all right. It pulls fine for all the gears.
It comes with a 6-speed gearbox.
It goes over 100. Don't ask me how I know that. And it's a comfortable bike. It's a comfortable bike. Even though the weight of it is 190 kilos, it still pulls all right for the amount of torque and horsepower that it has. It's still quite good. The suspension is nothing special. It has conventional non-adjustable forks on the front, and on the rear it has dual shocks which are adjustable. I'm going to talk about the brakes. On the front there's a single disc with a single caliper with 2 pistons. On the rear we have a single disc with a single caliper, but now with 1 piston, and it has ABS front and rear. And to be honest, I didn't really feel at any point that it needs much more braking, considering the fact that it's not a sports bike, it's just a cruiser. It's quite alright. One of the reasons that this bike is really comfortable is because of the high profile of the tires. It has a high profile front and rear. Slipped a bit there. think this is a dead end. I'm just going to turn. Oh, is it? One of the things that the people were sheep. Scared them off with the growl of this beast. It's one of the things that people were talking about online, and I did watch a few reviews and did read a little bit about it before I bought this bike. That it is a great learner bike. Well, it is because of the really low seat height. I think it's 75 centimeters. I'm not really 100% sure. That just slips my mind right now. But yes, everyone can flat foot this bike. That's a good thing. The bad thing is it's 190 kilograms. That's quite heavy. And believe me, if you buy this bike as your first bike, you will drop it. But to be honest, in any case, you will drop your first bike. It doesn't really matter how light it is. I do think sometimes that this is a little bit more power than a learner should have as a first bike, because it is quite quick. Don't think that this is a slow bike, even though it's a 500 and it's a A2 legal bike. It's still quite quick. Gonna go through here. Looks nice. To be honest, I never been through some of these places. We're exploring together, and I think it's a dead end. Yep. I don't want to get in the puddle. That's country life right here, folks. UK country life. Just gonna go back left and go a bit forward and see where we end up. Neutral. Yeah. And I do think this bike sounds relatively good. I mean, it has a bit of bass to it, but it's not really too loud. And I think when Honda designed it, they wanted people to modify this bike. You know, make bobbers and choppers, and because the way it's built, it's really easy to take apart, and it's really easy to swap things, and it looks good without the rear seat and the real fender on. And I think they did that on purpose. As I was saying about the engine, this 471cc engine is an engine that Honda is using in quite a few bikes. They're using it in the CBR 500R, the CB 500F, which I actually own, CB 500X, and in the Honda Rebel. They're very good engines, quite peppy. Like I said, they do pull. You don't really have a lot of faults with these engines. They're quite good. Maintenance costs on these engines is quite low as well.
The fuel tank holds 11 liters.
Fuel economy is amazing. It does around 3 to 3.5 liters per 100 kilometers. I'm going to put that in miles per gallon for everyone to understand. Like a side note that I want to say is that 92% of my viewers are unsubscribed. So if you're watching this video and you do subscribe, I do appreciate it. And comment and like. I do appreciate even the 1 or 2 likes that I have on my videos. I appreciate them very much, and the comments and the suggestions and questions. I do appreciate the interactions with my viewers. So just comment whatever you want to say. If it's good, if it's bad, anything that you might add. What is your opinion on this bike if you own one? Like I said, I have owned this bike for the past 2 years, and I did install a few things on it. As you can see, I have the screen, I have a phone holder, I have the gear indicator, I changed the mirrors, I have a crash bar, and I do have a sissy bar, which is the pillion backrest. And the greatest addition that I made to this bike are the panniers, because this bike has no storage whatsoever, like nothing, not even a place to hold your keys or your phone or your wallet, nothing. You're pretty much, you grab a backpack or you install panniers, which I installed panniers, and I think they look quite good. I think they look better with panniers. This bike looks better with panniers than without. I don't really know which way I'm going now. I'm gonna go left. Like I said, there are good bits and bad bits, but mostly there are good bits. One of the bad things that I noticed from time to time when I'm riding, let's say over an hour and a half, I do get slight cramping in my leg, but maybe that's just me, because I think it's because of the position. Your knee sits quite up. I think it's because of the way that Honda positioned their pegs, which is good and bad at the same time. The bad, like I said, is I'm getting cramps. I don't know about yourself if you own one. It's because of the pegs. The way that they mounted these pegs is to make this bike more sporty, so you can lean it more in the corners. They positioned the pegs so you can ride it more like you would a sports bike or a street bike, and it does work. I really enjoy this bike and really enjoy leaning this bike and going quick in the corners. Even though it's not really made for that, it's quite fun, and you can do it if you want. It's not going to be the fastest bike out there. It doesn't really come with tires that are made to do that, but you can change the tires and you can adjust your riding style for this bike if you really want to, ride a bit harder. I'm going to talk a little bit about this bike's history. So the first Rebel came out in the mid-80s. It had a 250cc engine, and it quickly became an icon because it was really popular with beginners, because it was light, it was cheap, and it was reliable. But that basically looks more like your classic cruiser would look like. And like I said, in 2017 they decided to bring out the new and improved and modernized Rebel, which is what we see here today. So this is kind of Honda's remake, like a modern classic of the old Rebel, and I like it, and a lot of people like it. I think it's a great bike, but I do think if you are a beginner, you should go with the 300. It's not a tragedy if you get this bike. I think you're gonna have a lot of fun, but you know, I told you, if you drop it, it is what it is. You'll probably drop that 300 as well, so it is what it is. Everyone drops their first bike, even the second bike, their third bike. You know, dropping bikes as a bike owner, it's a tragedy, but it happens. So one thing about this engine, as I said, it's in the CB500R and the CB500F, so this is not necessarily a cruiser engine. So when you think you're revving the nuts off of it, you are not, and it has plenty more to give. That's one of the things that I like about this bike, and it makes quite a nice sound. It's just nice to ride, it's nice to lean. Scraped a bit. And another thing that's not so great with this bike, I don't think the seat is that, it's not that it's a big seat, it takes all your ass, it doesn't matter, but it's, I don't think it's that soft, it's quite hard, it doesn't seem like it has enough padding on it. But there are plenty of seats that you can buy online for this bike if you want to swap it for something else. Plenty of options out there. That's it for this episode, guys. Please subscribe, comment and like, and if you have any suggestions, just leave a comment, and see you on the next one.